If you enjoyed this audiobook, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Chapter 1: The Patriarchy and Your Wallet. Part 1: Understanding Systemic Financial Barriers. The numbers tell a story that should make us all angry. When we examine financial data across demographics, a clear pattern emerges that has nothing to do with personal responsibility or financial literacy. Women consistently earn less, save less, and accumulate less wealth than men, even when controlling for education, experience, and hours worked. This isn't a coincidence or a series of individual failures. It's the predictable outcome of systems designed to keep women financially dependent. Consider the career of Mary, a software engineer who graduated from MIT in 1995. Despite identical qualifications to her male classmates, she received lower starting offers from tech companies. When she negotiated, recruiters described her as pushy, while praising male candidates for the same behavior as confident leadership. Over 20 years, this initial wage gap compounded. Her male peer earned promotions faster, received larger raises, and accumulated significantly more retirement savings. Mary's financial struggles weren't due to poor choices. They resulted from systematic workplace bias. The same pattern repeats in hiring practices across industries. Research by Harvard Business School found that identical resumes receive different responses based solely on gender. Employers unconsciously associate men with financial success and leadership potential while viewing women as higher-risk investments. These biases affect everything from starting salaries to project assignments to venture capital funding. Educational institutions perpetuate these barriers through subtle messaging about career expectations. Financial literacy programs often assume traditional family structures where men handle investments while women manage household budgets. This channeling limits women's exposure to wealth-building concepts and reinforces the myth that women are naturally less capable with complex financial decisions. Banking and investment industries have historically excluded women from high-yield opportunities. Until 1974, women couldn't open credit cards without male cosigners. Investment advisors still frequently direct sophisticated financial products toward male partners and meetings, assuming women prefer safer investments with lower returns. These interconnected systems create what economists call structural disadvantage. Individual women can overcome specific barriers through exceptional effort, but the overall pattern persists because the system itself requires reform. When 80% of financial challenges stem from external forces rather than personal decisions, the solution demands both individual financial education and collective advocacy for policy changes. Understanding these barriers transforms guilt into appropriate anger and channels that energy toward productive change. Your financial struggles reflect systemic problems, not personal inadequacy. Part 2: The Wage Gap and Workplace Discrimination. The numbers paint a stark picture. Women earn 82 cents for every dollar men make, and this gap widens dramatically for women of color. This wage disparity isn't just about numbers on a paycheck. It represents decades of lost compound interest, smaller retirement accounts, and reduced lifetime earning potential that can total over $1 million in lost wages throughout a career. When Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff discovered his company had a gender pay gap in 2015, he spent $3 million to eliminate it. 2 years later, after new hires and acquisitions, he had to spend another $3 million. This cycle revealed how quickly wage inequities creep back into organizations without constant vigilance. The discrimination starts before you even get the job. Harvard Business School research found that resumes with traditionally female names receive 14% fewer callbacks than identical resumes with male names. Once hired, the bias compounds. McKinsey's 2021 Women in the Workplace study showed that for every 100 men promoted to manager positions, only 86 women receive promotions. But here's where it gets particularly insidious. When women do negotiate for better pay, They face what researchers call the social backlash effect. Carnegie Mellon studies found that women who negotiate are perceived as pushy, aggressive, or ungrateful. Men who negotiate the same way are seen as confident leaders. This creates an impossible double bind. Stay quiet and remain underpaid, or speak up and risk being labeled difficult. Consider the experience of tennis champion Serena Williams. Despite being one of the most successful athletes in history, she earned significantly less in prize money and endorsements than male counterparts with fewer achievements. When she spoke about pay equity, critics questioned her gratitude and work ethic rather than addressing the systemic inequity. The workplace amplifies these biases through what economists call statistical discrimination. Employers make assumptions about women's commitment levels based on gender stereotypes rather than individual merit. They assume women will leave for family responsibilities, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy where women receive fewer growth opportunities. Performance reviews reveal another layer of bias. Kieran Snyder analyzed 248 performance reviews and found that women received vague feedback focused on communication style, while men received specific, actionable career guidance. Women heard, "You need to be less abrasive," while men heard, "You should develop expertise in X to reach the next level." These factors create a compounding effect throughout entire careers. Each missed promotion, delayed raise, or sideways move cascades into larger lifetime financial losses. The wage gap isn't just about current paychecks. It's about building wealth, financial security, and economic independence. Understanding these patterns helps explain why individual effort alone cannot close the gap. The system itself requires fundamental restructuring to create true financial equality. Part 3. The Motherhood Penalty and Caregiving Costs. The moment a woman becomes pregnant, her earning potential begins to decline in ways most people never see coming. Research from Harvard Business School shows mothers earn approximately 4% less per child, while fathers experience a 6% salary boost. This isn't coincidence. It's the motherhood penalty in action. Think about what happens when a woman announces her pregnancy at work. Suddenly, colleagues and supervisors begin questioning her commitment. Will she still work late? Can she travel for business? Meanwhile, when men become fathers, they're viewed as more responsible, stable, and deserving of promotions. The same life event that damages women's careers actually enhances men's professional standing. The financial impact extends far beyond reduced salaries. When Sheryl Sandberg's husband died suddenly in 2015, she discovered firsthand how unprepared society is for single mothers managing both career and childcare responsibilities. Despite her wealth and resources, she struggled with the impossible balance that millions of women face daily without her advantages. Consider the real costs of caregiving that rarely appear in salary negotiations. The average American family spends $12,000 annually on childcare, often more than college tuition. When childcare costs exceed a parent's salary, guess who typically leaves the workforce? Women abandon their careers 70% more often than men when faced with this economic reality. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed these inequalities brutally. When schools closed in March 2020, women left the workforce at 4 times the rate of men. McKinsey & Company found that 1 in 4 women considered downshifting their careers or leaving entirely. Many had no choice when childcare disappeared overnight. The caregiving penalty doesn't end with children. Women provide 61% of unpaid elder care, often sacrificing career advancement to care for aging parents. This invisible labor costs women an estimated $324,000 in lifetime earnings, according to the National Women's Law Center. Countries with robust parental leave policies tell a different story. In Sweden, fathers must use 90 days of paid leave or lose it entirely. This policy reduced the motherhood penalty significantly because caregiving became normalized for both parents. American women receive 0 federally mandated paid maternity leave, the only developed nation with this distinction. The solution isn't asking women to work harder or negotiate better. The solution requires systemic change, affordable childcare, paid family leave, and workplace cultures that don't penalize caregiving. Until these structures change, women will continue paying a financial price for society's assumption that caregiving is primarily their responsibility. Part 4. Money scripts and emotional financial patterns. Your childhood dinner table conversations about money are still controlling your bank account today. Most people never realize that their adult financial decisions stem from beliefs formed before age 7. Dr. Brad Klontz, a financial psychologist, coined the term money scripts, unconscious beliefs about money that drive every financial choice you make. These scripts develop when you're too young to understand money logically, yet they continue operating in the background of your adult life like invisible puppet strings. Consider Sarah, a successful marketing executive who earns 6 figures but lives paycheck to paycheck. She grew up watching her mother hide purchases from her father, stuffing shopping bags in the trunk until he left for work. Now, Sarah can't buy anything without feeling guilty, even necessities like groceries. Her childhood script whispers that spending money equals deception and shame. The 4 primary money scripts are money avoidance, money worship, money status, and money vigilance. Money avoiders believe wealthy people are greedy or that they don't deserve financial success. Money worshippers think money solves all problems and brings happiness. Money status seekers equate self-worth with net worth. Money-vigilant people view money as scarce and dangerous to discuss. Research from Kansas State University found that these scripts predict financial behaviors better than education, income, or age. A woman who witnessed her parents argue about money might develop money vigilance, hoarding cash but never investing because markets feel too risky. Another who watched her mother sacrifice everything for financial security might rebel with money avoidance, subconsciously sabotaging her earning potential. Women face additional complexity because patriarchal structures intertwine with these scripts. Society teaches girls that discussing money is unfeminine or that financial dependence equals security. These messages layer onto personal family scripts, creating double barriers to financial empowerment. Identifying your money scripts requires honest reflection about childhood experiences. What did your parents say about rich people? How did they handle financial stress? What happened during your first memory of money? These seemingly innocent moments created neural pathways that still influence whether you negotiate salaries, invest in stocks, or start businesses. The shame surrounding money discussions keeps women trapped in these unconscious patterns. We don't talk about money, so we never examine why we make certain choices. Breaking this cycle starts with recognizing that your financial behaviors aren't character flaws. They're learned responses to early experiences that can be changed once you understand their origins. Chapter 2. Claiming Your Worth in the Workplace. Part 1. Navigating Biased Corporate Structures. These same corporate ladders women climb today were built when business suits came exclusively in men's sizes, and company policies assumed every employee had a wife at home. When Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff discovered his company had a $3 million pay gap favoring men, he didn't question whether the problem existed. He immediately allocated funds to fix it. Yet this revelation came only after Salesforce had prided itself on being a progressive tech company. If bias could hide so effectively in Silicon Valley's most forward-thinking companies, imagine what lurks in more traditional corporate environments. The modern workplace operates on systems designed decades ago, when women represented less than 30% of the workforce. These structures persist like outdated software running on new machines. Performance reviews still favor traits historically associated with masculine leadership styles. Meetings reward those who speak first and loudest, rather than those who listen and synthesize. Promotion criteria emphasize face time over actual results, penalizing women who often handle disproportionate caregiving responsibilities. Consider how Goldman Sachs structured bonuses until recently. The bank tied compensation to revenue generation, which sounds fair until you realize women were systematically excluded from the highest revenue client relationships. This wasn't intentional discrimination, but inherited bias baked into daily operations. Women received smaller accounts, generated lower revenue, and earned smaller bonuses, creating a cycle that appeared merit-based but was actually structurally flawed. These patterns show up everywhere. Research from Harvard Business School found that identical resumes received different responses when names were changed from Jennifer to John. Hiring managers rated John as more competent and worthy of higher starting salaries. The resume content remained identical, but perceived gender changed everything. Corporate hierarchies also reflect outdated assumptions about availability and commitment. Companies still schedule important meetings during school pickup hours or plan essential networking events during family dinner time. They measure dedication by weekend emails rather than project outcomes. These seemingly neutral policies create invisible barriers that disproportionately affect women. The challenge isn't just individual bias, but institutional momentum. Companies promote based on previous promotion patterns. They hire from networks that historically excluded women. They define leadership using templates created when boardrooms were exclusively male. Breaking these cycles requires recognizing that what appears as individual preference or performance often reflects systematic, structural disadvantages that compound over time. Part 2. Mastering salary negotiation. Women who negotiate their salaries see average increases of 7.4%, according to Harvard Business School research. Yet most women never ask for more money. The numbers tell a stark story. Michelle Obama revealed that during her early legal career, she discovered male colleagues earned significantly more for identical work. This pattern repeats across industries. Women working in tech, finance, healthcare, and education consistently earn less than male counterparts, even when controlling for experience and qualifications. Negotiation feels scary because society teaches women to be grateful rather than assertive. When men negotiate, they're seen as confident leaders. When women do the same thing, they face backlash. Research from Carnegie Mellon shows that women who negotiate are 35% more likely to be labeled aggressive or difficult. This double standard creates a catch-22 that keeps women financially behind. The key is reframing negotiation as problem-solving, not combat. Instead of demanding more money, you're collaborating to find fair compensation that reflects your value. Sheryl Sandberg transformed Facebook's approach by presenting data about her contributions and market rates. She didn't ask for a favor. She presented a business case. Start by gathering concrete evidence. Document your achievements, research industry standards, and identify specific ways you've added value. When Sarah Blakely negotiated with investors for Spanx, she came armed with sales figures and growth projections. She turned the conversation into a discussion about return on investment rather than personal worth. Practice the conversation beforehand. Role-play with trusted friends or mentors. Script your opening statement. Based on my research and contributions, I'd like to discuss adjusting my compensation to better reflect market standards and my performance. This language focuses on facts, not emotions. Timing matters enormously. Schedule discussions after successful project completions or during performance review cycles. Avoid Monday mornings or stressful deadline periods. Choose moments when your manager can focus entirely on the conversation without distractions. Prepare for pushback without taking it personally. When told budgets are tight, ask about alternative compensation like flexible work arrangements, professional development funding, or accelerated review timelines. Bumble CEO Whitney Wolfe Herd secured equity instead of immediate salary increases, building long-term wealth that eventually made her a billionaire. Remember that negotiation skills compound over time. Every successful conversation builds confidence for the next opportunity. If nothing else from this entire discussion sticks with you, let it be this. Start talking about money openly and advocate for fair compensation. Your financial future depends on it. Part 3. Overcoming gendered workplace expectations. Your ideas will be called cute, while identical suggestions from male colleagues get labeled innovative. This reality reveals how workplace expectations systematically diminish women's professional impact. Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg experienced this firsthand when her assertive leadership style was criticized as aggressive, while similar behavior from male executives was praised as decisive. Research from Harvard Business School shows women receive 2.5 times more feedback about aggressive communication styles than men, despite displaying identical behaviors in workplace scenarios. The problem runs deeper than individual bias. When women demonstrate confidence or negotiate assertively, they face what psychologists call the backlash effect. Studies from New York University found that hiring managers penalize women for negotiating salaries, rating them as less likable and less hireable than men who make identical requests. This backlash exists because financial power threatens existing systems. Money provides independence, options, and the ability to walk away from unfavorable situations. When women accumulate wealth, they can start businesses, fund causes they believe in, or leave toxic relationships. These possibilities challenge structures that benefit from women having fewer choices. Consider how differently society reacts when women display wealth. Female entrepreneurs like Oprah Winfrey and Martha Stewart faced intense scrutiny about their success that male billionaires rarely encounter. Their achievements were questioned, minimized, or attributed to luck rather than skill and hard work. The conditioning starts early. Girls learn to be accommodating, to avoid appearing too ambitious, and to prioritize others' comfort over their own advancement. By adulthood, many women have internalized these messages so completely that they sabotage their own success without realizing it. Breaking free requires recognizing that resistance to your success is predictable, not personal. When colleagues dismiss your ideas or challenge your authority, understand that their reaction stems from discomfort with changing power dynamics. This awareness helps you respond strategically rather than emotionally. Document everything. Keep records of your contributions, successful projects, and positive feedback. When your achievements are inevitably downplayed or forgotten, you have evidence to support your value. Netflix executive Jessica Neal built detailed portfolios of her work, which proved essential during promotion discussions where her contributions were initially overlooked. Find allies who will amplify your voice in meetings and decision-making conversations. Create informal mentorship relationships with other women who understand these dynamics. Remember that every woman who breaks through these barriers makes it easier for the next person to follow. Part 4. Building Career Advancement Strategies. Women earn 82 cents for every dollar men make, but smart strategies can help level the playing field. Building lasting career momentum requires understanding that advancement happens through relationships as much as performance. Sheryl Sandberg didn't become COO of Facebook solely through exceptional work. She cultivated strategic relationships that opened doors to opportunities before they were publicly posted. Start by mapping your professional ecosystem. Identify 3 categories of connections: mentors who guide your growth, peers who collaborate on current projects, and junior colleagues whose potential you can champion. Research from Harvard Business School shows women who actively maintain diverse professional networks earn 25% more than those who don't. Create a personal board of directors. Think of 5 people whose judgment you trust completely. Schedule quarterly conversations with each one to discuss your career trajectory, salary expectations, and growth opportunities. These aren't formal meetings, but genuine relationship-building conversations over coffee or lunch. Document your wins systematically. Too many women downplay their achievements or assume others remember their contributions. Keep a running list of successful projects, positive client feedback, and quantifiable results you've delivered. When Oprah Winfrey was building her media empire, she maintained detailed records of every successful initiative, which proved essential during contract negotiations. Time your advancement requests strategically. Don't wait for annual reviews. Research shows the best time to discuss promotions is 3 to 6 months before budget planning cycles begin. This gives decision-makers time to advocate for your position internally. Build visibility through thought leadership. Write articles for industry publications, speak at conferences, or lead internal initiatives that showcase your expertise. LinkedIn data reveals that women who publish professional content receive 40% more connection requests and job opportunities than those who remain passive observers. Develop sponsors, not just mentors. Mentors offer advice, but sponsors actively advocate for your advancement in rooms where decisions happen. Male executives often naturally develop these relationships through informal networks. Women must be more intentional about cultivating sponsors who will champion their careers when opportunities arise. Remember that career advancement isn't linear. Sometimes sideways moves into high-visibility projects create better long-term positioning than traditional vertical promotions. Focus on building skills and relationships that compound over time rather than chasing immediate title changes. Chapter 3. Building Your Financial Foundation. Part 1. The Financial Game Plan Framework. Most people try to fix everything at once and end up fixing nothing at all. Sarah Martinez learned this lesson the hard way when she inherited $15,000 from her grandmother in 2019. She simultaneously opened 3 investment accounts, started paying extra on her student loans, and launched an aggressive savings plan. Within 6 months, she felt completely overwhelmed and abandoned all her financial goals. She had fallen into the classic trap of trying to do everything at once. The Financial Game Plan Framework solves this problem by creating a clear roadmap. Think of it like climbing a ladder. You wouldn't skip rungs or try to jump to the top. Each step supports the next one, creating a stable foundation for lasting financial growth. This framework operates on a simple principle: complete one financial goal before moving to the next. When Netflix wanted to transform from DVD rentals to streaming, they didn't abandon their core business overnight. They methodically transitioned, ensuring each phase was solid before advancing. Your finances work the same way. The framework establishes 3 non-negotiable priorities in this exact order. First, build your emergency fund to cover 3 to 6 months of expenses. Second, eliminate high-interest debt that costs you more than you could reasonably earn through investments. Third, maximize retirement contributions to capture employer matching and long-term growth. Why does order matter so much? Consider what happened to restaurant workers during the 2020 pandemic. Those with emergency funds weathered sudden unemployment while continuing to pay bills. Those without emergency funds accumulated debt that took years to resolve. The ones who had invested money instead of saving for emergencies faced impossible choices between basic necessities and early withdrawal penalties. Each completed step creates momentum for the next. Jessica Chen from Portland discovered this when she focused solely on building her $8,000 emergency fund in 2021. Once she achieved that goal, tackling her credit card debt felt manageable rather than overwhelming. The confidence from one success fueled her motivation for the next challenge. The framework adapts as your life changes. A promotion might shift your priorities from debt elimination to investment growth. Marriage or children might require revisiting your emergency fund target. The beauty lies in its flexibility while maintaining clear direction. This systematic approach eliminates decision fatigue. Instead of wondering whether to invest or pay down debt, you follow the established sequence. Your energy goes toward execution rather than endless deliberation about the best strategy. Part 2. Creating an emergency fund. Your first financial defense against life's inevitable surprises lies in accumulating cold, hard cash that sits safely in an account. Think of your emergency fund as a financial cushion that catches you when life throws curveballs. Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, worked at Denka selling fax machines for 7 years while secretly developing her billion-dollar idea. When she finally decided to quit and pursue her business full-time, she had saved enough money to cover her living expenses for months. This financial buffer gave her the confidence to take the leap without panicking about rent or groceries. Your emergency fund should contain 3 to 6 months of living expenses. This means calculating everything you absolutely need to survive: rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, minimum debt payments, insurance, and transportation costs. If your monthly survival expenses total $3,000, you need between $9,000 and $18,000 sitting in a readily accessible account. The money belongs in a high-yield savings account, not your regular checking account where it earns practically nothing. Marcus by Goldman Sachs, Ally Bank, and Capital One 360 consistently offer rates significantly higher than traditional banks. While your local bank might offer 0.01% interest, high-yield accounts often provide rates exceeding 4%. On a $15,000 emergency fund, that difference means earning $600 annually instead of $1.50. Access remains crucial. Unlike certificates of deposit or investment accounts that might lock up your money or lose value when you need it most, high-yield savings accounts let you withdraw funds immediately. You can typically transfer money to your checking account within 1 to 2 business days, fast enough for most emergencies but slow enough to prevent impulse spending. Real emergencies include job loss, medical bills not covered by insurance, major car repairs, or urgent home maintenance like a broken furnace. Your emergency fund is not for vacations, shopping sprees, or that expensive gadget you suddenly want. Think of it as insurance you pay to yourself. This fund must be complete before you invest in the stock market or make extra debt payments beyond minimums. Rachel Cruz, personal finance expert and daughter of Dave Ramsey, learned this lesson when she and her husband faced unexpected medical expenses early in their marriage. Their emergency fund prevented them from going into debt when crisis struck. The peace of mind that comes with knowing you can handle financial surprises transforms how you make career decisions, take calculated risks, and sleep at night. You stop living paycheck to paycheck and start living with intention and confidence. Part 3. The Financial Priority List. Your emergency fund acts as a financial safety net, but what comes next determines whether you build lasting wealth or stay stuck in financial mediocrity. Once your emergency fund is complete, you need a clear roadmap for your next financial moves. Without this structure, most people bounce between goals randomly, paying extra on student loans one month and opening retirement accounts the next. This scattered approach wastes precious time and momentum. Consider Sarah Chen, a marketing manager from Seattle who earned $75,000 annually. After building her emergency fund in 2019, she felt ready to tackle everything at once. She split her extra $800 monthly between student loan payments, retirement contributions, and saving for a house down payment. 2 years later, she had made minimal progress on any goal and felt frustrated with her lack of direction. The solution lies in creating a financial priority list that addresses the most urgent needs first. This means tackling high-interest debt before investing for retirement. Why? Mathematics provides the answer. If you carry credit card debt at 18% interest while investing in retirement accounts earning 7% annually, you lose money on the spread. High-interest debt includes credit cards, personal loans, and any debt above 7% interest. These should be your immediate focus after emergency funds are secure. Attack the highest interest rates first while making minimum payments on everything else. This avalanche method saves the most money over time. Once high-interest debt disappears, shift focus to retirement investing. Start with employer 401k matches if available, then maximize Roth IRA contributions. The compound growth over decades makes early investing incredibly powerful. A 25-year-old investing $200 monthly will have more retirement wealth than someone starting at 35 investing $400 monthly. Your priority list should adapt as life changes. Marriage, children, job changes, and health issues all affect financial priorities. Review your list quarterly and adjust accordingly. What matters most at 25 differs dramatically from priorities at 35 or 45. Lower priority items include saving for vacations, paying extra on low-interest mortgages, and building wealth beyond retirement accounts. These goals matter, but addressing them too early can derail your financial progress. The key is focusing intensely on one priority at a time, rather than spreading efforts thin across multiple goals. This concentrated approach builds momentum and creates faster, more visible progress that motivates continued success. Part 4. The 3-Bucket Budget System. Your carefully crafted priority list means nothing without a practical system to manage your money daily. Managing money feels overwhelming when every dollar seems to need 10 different jobs. You pay rent, save for retirement, want to enjoy dinner with friends, and still need groceries. Traditional budgeting advice often creates an all-or-nothing mentality that leaves people feeling deprived or guilty about every purchase. The 3-Bucket Budget solves this problem by dividing your after-tax income into 3 clear categories. 50% goes toward essential expenses, 20% toward future goals, and 30% toward discretionary spending. This isn't arbitrary math. It's a framework tested by thousands of people who needed both structure and breathing room. Your first bucket handles survival needs. Rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, and minimum debt payments live here. These expenses aren't optional, but they shouldn't consume your entire paycheck either. If essentials exceed 50% of your income, you have a housing problem, not a budgeting problem. The second bucket funds your future self. Emergency fund contributions, retirement investments, and extra debt payments belong here. This bucket ensures you're consistently moving toward financial security rather than hoping it happens someday. 20% might seem ambitious initially, but starting smaller and building up works better than avoiding this bucket entirely. The third bucket preserves your sanity and values. This money funds restaurants, hobbies, travel, and entertainment without guilt. Many people skip this entirely, thinking responsible budgeting means constant sacrifice. That approach inevitably fails because humans need joy and connection, both of which often cost money. Within your discretionary bucket, identify 3 value categories that reflect what matters most to you. Maybe it's fitness, creativity, and social connections, or travel, learning, and family experiences. When you know your 3 categories, saying no to other spending becomes easier because you're saying yes to what you truly care about. Sarah, a marketing manager from Portland, discovered her value categories were outdoor adventures, quality coffee, and supporting local businesses. Before this clarity, she spent randomly on clothes, gadgets, and subscriptions she rarely used. Now, her discretionary money funds weekend hiking trips, premium coffee beans, and neighborhood restaurant visits. Her spending decreased, while her satisfaction increased dramatically. This system works because it acknowledges human nature rather than fighting it. You need security, progress toward goals, and present moment enjoyment. The 3-Bucket Budget provides all 3 without requiring you to choose between them or feel guilty about normal human desires. Chapter 4. Investing and Building Wealth, Part 1. Demystifying Investing for Women. The investment world deliberately makes itself sound complicated, but at its core, investing means putting your money into something that grows over time. Think of it like planting seeds. You put money into stocks, bonds, or funds today, expecting them to grow into something bigger tomorrow. The financial industry has wrapped this simple concept in jargon and complexity to maintain control. But the truth is straightforward enough that anyone can understand it. women face a massive investing gap that costs real money. Studies show that 61% of women keep their savings in low-interest accounts rather than investing, compared to 41% of men. This gap isn't about intelligence, it's about access to education. Financial firms historically marketed to men, creating a culture where investment knowledge passed through male networks, while women were excluded from these conversations. Consider Maria, a teacher who saved diligently for 30 years, putting away 15% of her salary into savings accounts earning 1% interest. Meanwhile, her colleague James invested the same amount in low-cost index funds averaging 7% annual returns. After 3 decades, Maria had accumulated roughly $180,000, while James built over $650,000 from identical contributions. The difference? Maria saved money. James invested it. The Roth IRA represents one of the most powerful wealth-building tools available. Yet countless women remain unaware of its benefits. You contribute after-tax dollars, but everything grows tax-free forever. A 25-year-old contributing $200 monthly to a Roth IRA could retire with over $1.3 million by age 65, assuming average market returns. Many employer 401k plans offer free matching contributions, essentially doubling your investment immediately. Yet millions of women leave this money on the table. Index funds make investing simple by spreading your money across hundreds or thousands of companies automatically. You don't need to pick individual stocks or time the market perfectly. Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund, for example, owns pieces of nearly every publicly traded U.S. company for an annual fee of just 0.03%. Starting small works perfectly fine. Many brokerages now allow investing with no minimum balance. You can begin with $25 monthly and increase contributions as your income grows. The key is starting now rather than waiting for perfect conditions that never arrive. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time. Investment platforms like Fidelity, Schwab, and Vanguard have eliminated most fees and minimum requirements that once created barriers. Mobile apps make investing as simple as online shopping. The complexity that once protected industry gatekeepers has largely disappeared, making wealth building accessible to everyone willing to learn the basics. Part 2. Starting early and the power of time. Women who start investing at 22 instead of 32 retire with double the wealth, despite identical monthly contributions. Sarah and Jessica both earn identical salaries as teachers. Sarah begins investing $200 monthly at age 25. Jessica waits until 35 to start, but contributes $400 monthly to catch up. By retirement at 65, Sarah has invested $96,000 over 40 years. Jessica invested $144,000 over 30 years. Yet Sarah's account holds $525,000, while Jessica's contains $365,000. Sarah's Head Start generated $160,000 more wealth, despite investing $48,000 less. This isn't magic. This is compound interest. Einstein supposedly called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. Your money doesn't just grow, it grows on its growth. Every dollar you invest today works harder than dollars invested later because it has more time to multiply. Think of compound interest like planting an oak tree. The earlier you plant it, the taller it grows. Waiting 10 years means starting with a smaller tree that will never reach the same height. The math becomes even more dramatic with longer time frames. Consider Anne, who invests $2,000 annually from age 19 to 26, just 8 years, then stops completely. Her friend Beth waits until 27 and invests $2,000 every year until retirement at 65. Anne invests $16,000 total. Beth invests $78,000. At retirement, Anne has $2.3 million, while Beth has $1.5 million. Anne wins by $800,000 despite investing $62,000 less. Most women delay investing because they feel unprepared or want larger starting amounts. This perfectionist thinking costs hundreds of thousands in lost returns. Every month you wait is money you'll never recover. The stock market historically returns about 10% annually over long periods. Starting with $50 monthly beats waiting 2 years to invest $200 monthly. Market crashes happen regularly, but time heals these wounds. The 2008 financial crisis devastated portfolios temporarily, but investors who stayed invested recovered completely by 2013. Those who panic sold and waited for better timing often miss the recovery entirely. Your timeline matters more than market timing because you're not trying to get rich next year. You're building wealth over decades. The biggest investing mistake isn't picking wrong stocks or bad timing. It's never starting at all. Your future self will thank you for beginning today, even imperfectly, rather than waiting for tomorrow's perfect conditions that never arrive. Part 3. Mindful spending and value categories. Starting to invest doesn't mean you should stop spending money on things that bring you joy. The biggest myth about building wealth is that you must live like a monk, cutting every small pleasure from your life. This approach backfires spectacularly because it's impossible to sustain over decades. Think about your money like a pie with different slices. After you've allocated money for investing and essential expenses, you have discretionary income left over. The key is spending this money on purpose, not by accident. Suze Orman famously criticized people for buying lattes, but research from behavioral economist Dan Ariely shows that small, consistent pleasures actually improve financial decision-making by reducing decision fatigue. The solution lies in identifying your top 3 spending priorities. Maybe you love traveling, cooking elaborate meals, or collecting vintage books. These are your value categories, the areas where spending aligns with who you are and what makes life meaningful. Sarah, a teacher from Portland, discovered she spent $300 monthly on random impulse purchases that brought no lasting satisfaction. When she redirected that same amount toward her value category of outdoor adventures, she felt significantly happier with her financial choices while maintaining identical spending levels. Value-based spending eliminates the guilt spiral that destroys healthy money relationships. When you buy something within your predetermined categories, you can enjoy it completely because it's intentional. When friends pressure you to spend on things outside these categories, saying no becomes easier because you have clear priorities. The comparison trap kills financial joy faster than anything else. Instagram shows curated highlight reels, not complete financial pictures. That friend posting luxury vacation photos might be drowning in credit card debt, while you're building real wealth through strategic choices. Your spending should reflect your values, not someone else's social media performance. This approach requires honest self-reflection. What activities, experiences, or items genuinely improve your life versus what society tells you should matter? Michelle Obama spoke about this in interviews, explaining how she learned to spend money on quality childcare and house cleaning so she could focus energy on career advancement and family time, decisions that paid massive dividends over time. Balance remains crucial. Extreme frugality often leads to financial rebound overspending, similar to restrictive diets causing binge eating. Sustainable wealth building requires enjoying today while securing tomorrow. Your future self needs you to invest, but your present self deserves happiness through mindful spending aligned with authentic values. Part 4. Using financial power for systemic change. Your money becomes a powerful tool for change the moment you realize every dollar spent shapes the world around you. Research from the Federal Reserve shows women control 80% of household purchasing decisions, making their consumer choices collectively worth trillions annually. Consider how Patagonia transformed from a clothing company into an environmental movement. When CEO Yvon Chouinard donated the entire company to fight climate change in 2022, it happened because millions of customers had already voted with their wallets for decades. They chose expensive outdoor gear specifically because Patagonia used recycled materials, paid fair wages, and donated profits to environmental causes. Customer loyalty didn't come from product quality alone. It came from shared values. Your bank account represents voting power. When you deposit money at a credit union instead of a major bank, you support community lending over predatory practices. When you buy from Black-owned businesses or companies with female CEOs, you help redistribute economic power to historically excluded groups. These choices create ripple effects far beyond single transactions. The numbers prove this approach works. B Corp certified companies, businesses meeting rigorous social and environmental standards, have grown from 82 companies in 2007 to over 5,000 today. This happened because consumers demanded better corporate behavior and backed demands with purchasing decisions. But individual choices alone cannot fix systemic problems. That's where collective action multiplies impact. When California's pension fund CalPERS divested $17 billion from tobacco companies in the 1990s, it forced entire industries to reconsider harmful practices. When university endowments divested from fossil fuels following student pressure, energy companies lost billions in funding. Your growing wealth creates opportunities for bigger impact. Small investors can choose ESG funds that screen for environmental and social responsibility. Larger portfolios enable direct investment in community development financial institutions that provide microloans to underserved populations. The key lies in research before spending. Does this company pay living wages? Do they have diverse leadership? What's their environmental track record? Many corporations practice woke washing, marketing progressive values while maintaining harmful practices behind closed doors. Building wealth while fighting inequality requires intentional choices at every level. Your financial power grows most effective when channeled toward businesses, organizations, and institutions that actively work to dismantle barriers rather than simply avoiding obvious harm. This transforms personal financial success into collective liberation.